Hey there, everybody, this is Manning again from Gone with the Wind, the host, yada yada. You know me, you know my voice if you listen to this podcast. I wanted to begin before we actually start the podcast. This is a little tag at the beginning I wanted to do because this was recorded before those crazy BAFTA nominations, let me tell you. So PGA wasn't out, DJ wasn't out, and while DJ and PGA, besides maybe Borat making it into PGA being kind of like run-of-the-mill, we've seen it before, some nice indicators, BAFTA went balls to the wall, as the saying goes. Movies that weren't even in the short list, like Rock's Calm with Horses or County Line, it was very kind of indie-centric almost. There was a lot of great, there was some great love for international films, a celebration of that, but there wasn't a lot of run-of-the-mill, let's have these big Oscar campaigns or whatnot. The BAFTAs really made it their own. They had some, really fantastic nominations in its way. There were some lesser-known people that managed to make it in, and now I knew that the BAFTAs had the new format they were doing in order to make sure that, diverse films could triumph, or diversity could triumph in the end, because BAFTA, if there was anyone that's almost wider than Oscars, it's definitely BAFTA. And that's not the case. This is an incredibly diverse list, and I am my jaw is dropping at the people that didn't make it. Here's a list, this is from Deadline, here's a list of people that ultimately did not make it in the end, that were kind of front runners in their category, or at least people who were like, these are almost certain to get in, right? But we have, not on BAFTA's list, are Carey Mulligan, Gary Oldman, Viola Davis, Amanda Seyfried, Sacha Baron Cohen, Olivia Colman, Glenn Close, Sophia Loren, Jodie Foster, Delroy Lindo, but poor Delroy kind of wasn't there. But, those who are looking at also director, we have Emerald Fennell didn't make it, Shaka King, Aaron Sorkin, David Fincher, and Spike Lee, but we knew Spike Lee probably wasn't getting the love that he needed. That movie kind of was fallen off the list. It's fallen off at the very end. This is honestly bananas to consider the amount of smaller films, and I'm just kind of happy also that I'm a big fan of White Tiger. I'm really happy that White Tiger managed to get some love at the very end of the day. There were a lot of things on social media, if you saw, where people they were like, the BAFTAs chose violence, and while obviously it's an exaggeration, I think it's kind of hilarious the fact that they kind of just said, you know what, we're going to do our own thing. Forget those front runners like, Mank. We're going to nominate things like The Dig, and which I still need to see, by the way. It is kind of fantastic, the fact that some of these lesser-known films, I haven't even heard of Rocks until this point, and now it's one that has gotten it. It's tied right now with Nomadland for the nominations. That's, which to me is an amazing, they both lead the pack with 7 nominations, I believe, with Nomadland and Rocks. And Rocks isn't even in the contention for isn't even contention at all for any, to my knowledge, it's on the short list, so it's not even in the contention for the Best Picture Oscar at the Oscars. So this is kind of their own thing by kind of cementing, themselves as stepping away from the Oscars. This is their own. This feels like their own. Now, if you look at some things like leading actress, all you have is McDormand and Kirby managing to make it in. What does that mean for someone like Andra Day? What does that mean for, Viola Davis? Or what does that mean for Carey Mulligan, especially, too? You look at everything else also. I'm trying to think. Some of the people that Adarsh Guavr, I can't pronounce his last name, but Guavr, well, I'm not going to try, but him making it for White Tiger made me really happy. But you have other people that didn't make it, like Steven Yeun for Minari, Gary Oldman for Mank. It is their own thing. Supporting actress is ridiculous. Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film is the only one to make it in every single one. Her and Woo Jong-yeon from Minari seem to be the only ones that are somehow making it in almost everywhere, but Minari didn't make a showing, of course, in the Golden Globes, but that's the only other one that manages to make it in somewhere, because you have other places like Rocks, Calm with Horses, and then, of course, Dominic Fishbach for Judas and the Black Messiah, which is a fantastic one, mention. And also makes me happy is Alan Kim and Paul Raci for supporting actor managed to make it in. Another fantastic inclusion, I would say. It is just a complete... It's bananas. It's truly, I have nothing else to say on the fact that it's bananas. And then, I think maybe having these small committees that kind of vote on specific categories, I think that really helped expand and highlight films that aren't exactly in the collective eye too much, because again, you have some of the smaller films being able to make it in. You have when you get to some of the lower categories, it's kind of more, run of the mill, and I'm not sure if the committees, well, I'm not sure if cinematography had its own committee, editing, casting, etc., but I know the directing and the acting categories did, and from that we got some amazing, really very almost unpredictable nominations, because I would like to see anyone look him in the eye and said, rocks, this movie would get the same amount of nominations as Nomadland and tie for that top spot. It also shows the staying power of Nomadland, the fact that was one to be able to carry over, but also how the BAFTAs, if this is something they continue, it's just kind of exciting to see what changes we could expect. And no, I'm just rambling at this point, but I just wanted to point that out because this is something that was all a buzz when it comes to Twitter, film Twitter specifically. And I wanted to point that out before releasing this, because again, this podcast was recorded, I think right before the Critics' Choice Awards was coming out on Sunday night, which again, we did not recover that because we knew it would be a moot point to record all that. But man, I can't wait to talk about BAFTAs later this week, so expect that, as well as a Oscar nomination podcast later this week. I'm looking forward to do that with the guys. Thank you all again, and this is an incredibly diverse list, and I'm so happy that we were able to have something that felt different, fresh, and completely out of nowhere. And yeah, here's the show. Man, BAFTA was crazy this year, wasn't it? Ugh, I love it. This is kind of like maybe next year as well. We'll see. Anyway, here's the show.
He's looking at you, kid. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I'll have what she's having.
Boss will be with you, always.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Welcome to another exciting, super quick episode of Gone with the Wind. Cue the music. Hey everybody, I am Manning, the host of Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows where we talk about you. Wait, no. This is why I try to go too fast. Hi everybody, my name is Manning. Today, I am the host of Gone with the Wind, the show about award. It's not a podcast unless I forget. It's the show about award shows where we talk about, you guessed it, award shows. But anyway, thank you again for joining us in this quick episode. By the time this has already been airing, the critics' choices have already transpired. We're not going to do it live because I want to try to edit some things. We'll do some lives every now and then, but for the big ones. But for critics, while it gives us a nice overview of what the critics say, has no really bearing because the crossover is non-existent. But anyway, thank you all for joining us in this particular episode. Hopefully, if I did all this right, this is now up on the 9th. So knock on wood. Insert knock on wood. Up. Anyway, thank you guys again. And I have an esteemed panel today as we rock and roll through this because I got to skedaddle in the next 45 minutes or so. So we have Baker Mayfield. Whoa!
Wow.
I don't know how Baker Mayfield talks.
I can't believe that. That he would grace himself with his presence, Manning. I mean, this is amazing.
You look very different, Baker.
Yeah. I'm about, I don't know, how tall is Baker Mayfield? 6'1"? I don't know.
Did you say 6'1"?
He looks a little tan-ish. Baker, did you get a tan?
Back up.
I did. What?
Okay, everyone, if you don't know, that's Abe. It's definitely Abe. Abe, did you say how tall he was and then you said 6'1"?
Oh no, Baker Mayfield, not me.
Yes, but did you say that Baker Mayfield's 6'1"?
Yeah, he's like 6.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly 6'1". That's impressive.
Oh, I know
anyway,
that. Oh no,
you knew that?
He's undersized for the quarterbacks who are usually 6'4", you know?
Man, I'm short. I'm only 6'8". I'm sorry. I'm only 5'8". I'm not 6'8". If I was 6'8", man, I'm so tall. I'd be a whole foot taller. No, I'm 5'8".
Man, if you're 6'8".
I know. I can't throw a ball to save my life. Anyway, we have Dan.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, I'm glad. I'm glad just to be on with Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's such a privilege of mine, you know?
And
No.
Richie McCaw.
I mean,
Richie McCaw, thanks for joining.
the good thing is no one will know my name's reference.
Is he
No.
that rugby player?
Yeah, from the All Blacks.
I googled that right now, but you don't know.
Rugby player. Okay.
Well, I don't know enough about. I can just say my name's hi. I'm Eli Manning. So I don't know. Anyway, thank you all again for joining us today for this episode of Gone with the Wind. I'm not sure what number it is right now because right now I'm still editing Dan and I special for Sundance. So either this one will go up first or this one. So you're gonna find out which one. I don't know. You'll find out. But anyway, thank you guys again for joining us today. Last week, literally almost a week from now, the Golden Globes happened, and they gave us some kind of predictions that we kind of thought was going to transpire, and we had some big shockers of the night that kind of are in Golden Globes fashion. What in the world are they talking about? What in the world are they doing? It's the Golden Globes. And then also we're going to be talking about some of the stuff we're going to be seeing this week. We got PGA nominations, we got DGA nominations, we got BAFTA nominations, and tonight we got Critics' Choice Awards. And while that has no, that doesn't really tell you what's going to happen with certain things, it is of course something we want to talk about because it is about movies and we want to talk about movies. So first off, we're going to talk about the Golden Globes that happened last week. Pray tell, what did you guys think of the show overall? What did you think about this virtual nature? I watched the beginning where we had I forgot who was it? The two people at the beginning? Jane Lynch.
Amy Poehler.
No, who was the before, like the red carpet, the quote unquote red carpet? We had Jane Lynch and who the other person there? I can't remember.
I don't know her name. She seemed a little awkward to me, if you ask me. I don't know what her name is though.
I'm not positive who it was, but they were over there, the red carpet, and after that we went right into the show. So tell us, what did you all think of the Golden Globes award show? Dan, you just talked and tell me a little more about what do you think of the virtual award show they did this year for the Golden Globes?
Well, actually, I did pretty good until people that I didn't guess started winning. So then I didn't do as good. No, because I was doing a tally. I was actually keeping a tally, and then I had to go to work. So, but shockers, I actually picked one of the shocking awards. Rosamund Pike won, and I picked her. And you guys,
should have gone with that.
You guys weren't picking her. Another one that was kind of a surprise was Jodie Foster for Best Supporting Actress. I don't think any of us saw that one coming, even though I told you guys I thought she was great in the movie. But I think one of the biggest ones was Andra Day in Best Comedy or Musical.
Absolutely.
I think that was one of the, if not the biggest. I mean, those three are the biggest. Song, none of us had song. That was like
no. I think that was all for all of us. That song from was at the bottom of all our list. If that's accurate statement for all of you.
Yeah, I added at 5 on my list, so I had nowhere. I'm like, are you kidding me? With Song of the Mountains, I think we all got that one wrong.
So Malcolm, excuse me. Sorry, Richie. Malcolm. No, Malcolm, tell me a little more about what did you think of the show overall? Did you think it was good? You're like, oh, you should do this more often. For instance, how did the Zoom virtual hangout chats for the Golden Globes work in your humble opinion?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the actual show, watch various clips here and there. But I don't think the Zoom for the award shows works well. Because like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who are usually quite on sync with their comedy bits and that, there's times they seem to be talking over each other. Although I have to say, I did love their opening monologue, where they had the random person's arm come up with it. But it's like, and also when they lit the fire under the HF the foreign press with their monologue, it's just they did everything right. And I don't think anyone expected them to go that into the controversies of the Globes that early on. But there was moments in which, like, Daniel Kaluuya forgot to unmute himself when he went to accept his award. But it's a little mess. Like, it worked for what they needed do, which is good. And it's good they got like essential workers a chance to see a
That was
show
cool.
in both locations.
I love that.
So-
I love that Daniel. You did me dirty.
was a
You
great
did me
moment.
dirty. I'm
You
like,
did me
oh,
dirty. You did me dirty. You did me really dirty. I love all the people that I didn't realize were British. I mean, I knew Daniel Kaluuya was British, but hearing it again, I'm just like, man, how are you British? But Mr. Mayfield. Oh yeah, Mr. Mayfield. Abe. I'm just gonna call you Abe. Sorry, Mr. Mayfield. May I call you Abe?
Yes, Abraham, please.
Thank you. Would you mind telling us a little more about what were your thoughts on the Golden Globes? Did you watch it, or were you, just watch clips of it later?
I watched about 5/8 of it because I'm gonna be honest, I got bored with the Zoom thing. I was not a fan at all. I did not like it. I thought it was weird. It's just weird. Like seeing people on their screens. Like if I want to watch that, I'll video chat with somebody. I don't know. It just feels weird, and I don't like it. And also, as Malcolm said, like the comedy beats between Amy Poehler and Tina Fey were like kind of off. Like I
Yes.
watched after like the fourth award I think I watched, and then I onto Sasha. No, what was the last one I watched?
Did you watch Tracy Morgan? Did you watch Tracy Morgan, Abe?
Yes, I did. What Tracy Morgan? Yeah, and I just got bored from it. Like I was like, oh, I'll check the rest of the winners. Yeah, because I saw Chloe Zhao winning director. I saw Sacha Baron Cohen winning the best comedy musical. I think that was the last speech I saw. The last Sacha Baron Cohen win.
I think you were close, farther than 5/8. Honestly, you might have been 6/8.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Because they ended almost right on time. They were literally like only a few minutes over.
Because I was watching the awards and like everybody was putting music on, especially the producers and stuff like that. So yeah, I was not a fan of that. I didn't like it at all. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a big well, here's my 2 cents on the matter. I enjoyed the opening monologue a lot. I love some of the big digs that they took. Every single bit they had in between was completely unnecessary, in my humble opinion. That one was just, it was not good. Not good by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. I'm not sure if it was because a lot of stuff was via Zoom. Also, just, it did feel off. I like some of the stuff they had. Like, I love seeing all the little boxes of, the people there and then seeing their reactions. It was different, and I enjoyed just how they tried to adapt. That said, I obviously missed the camaraderie of people actually being there. Just think of what it would like to have been, I mean, let's be honest. One of the best things was seeing people's backgrounds and exactly what in the world, where are they right now? I think that was the coolest part. But overall, I am looking forward to the day when we can have it back to a normal, which hopefully by next year we will have that normal. We'll have the normalcy kind of a little more when it comes to award shows.
When Jody Foster and them won, she's sitting in her pajamas with her dog, and then when she went, she kisses her wife and stuff. It's like
I had no idea she was in PJs till someone pointed it out, because I thought like, wow, look at that fancy outfit she has on there. Then thinking, oh, that's just fancy PJs.
Also, did you notice in the background of Aaron Sorkin's he had a very old-timey gramophone?
No.
He kept on drinking shots. Oh, he kept on drinking shots.
My first seeing his background, I'm like, wow, is that his entire family? Did he and his wife had so many daughters or something in my mind? I'm like, wow, but no, that's not what it was at all.
Yeah, I mean, one of the awkward bits with this one is, from what I've heard, is like before they went to the ads, they had a random shot where they had five random people on screen, maybe queued up, ready to present an award, just talking. Like, I don't think they had any plan with the tour. They just put them on, like, talk about something, react to something.
Yeah, it was. I think at the end of the day, it was awkward. I think Daniel Kaluuya's acceptance speech at the beginning was kind of, it was proof of that. How just like, and we didn't have a lot of mute jokes. I think, quote unquote, that was like the first fiasco we had, and one of the only ones, thankfully. They kind of, whether it was on his end or the Hollywood Foreign Press's end, either way, they fixed it, and we didn't have any other difficulties after that. But can I just say, the fact that we all, I don't know what it was about this that I found hilarious, but we all had like what was that song? So. Oh, what's that one for song that won?
So I think it's Life Ahead.
Yeah,
Life
Life
Ahead.
Ahead. It translates to sweet, right? Sweet or something.
I think it's Scene.
Scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, babe.
I mean, that was probably one of the biggest shockers in the sense of like that was my number 5. But just because this might be the actual for those of you, did any of you know oh, what's her name? I'm gonna check right now and make sure I got her name. But like
Diane Warren.
Laura Pausini.
Thank you, Diane Warren, the American songwriter who has not won a single Oscar just yet. She's been nominated countless times, and who knows? Since there's no big song this year sweeping, this could be the year where they're like, let's just reward Diane Warren after all these years.
Well, I just want to say, did they nominate the song from Fight for Democracy? Because that song's a good song. Go listen to that song. I think you guys will agree that that could win an Oscar if it gets nominated. It's on the short list. It didn't get nominated at the Globe, so obviously it couldn't win. But that song for Fight for Democracy is a pretty good song.
Mm-hmm. So, question I have along for you guys: if you had to pick one surprise and one of your favorite wins / acceptance speeches, where you're like, "Wow, I love this win and I love this person's acceptance speech." Tell me, Dan, what is your favorite win, or what's your favorite win / acceptance speech, and what was your most shocking win?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised when Rosamund Pike won. But what I love what she said was she says, well, this is a damnation about the American medical whatever community or whatever the health community of senior citizens, and this is that and the other that I could win for this role and all this stuff. And she was kind of funny in her way, like throwing shade on American health, senior citizen homes and all that stuff. So she was but Andra Day, what a great speech, but also a great surprise to see her win. I don't think any of us had that one. Those are the two that kind of stood out for me, but I also did like Jodie Foster too. So
I keep want to call you Rishi. Malcolm, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest surprise was Andra Day winning. Like, I don't think any of us had her in our conversation. But for me, my favourite acceptance speech is probably Sacha Baron Cohen's when he was thanking like his co-star Rudy Giuliani, just throwing shade at Donald Trump for the last time. That was just really fun. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens because, not that I don't want to suspect that, because from what I wouldn't be surprised if this resurgence of like Andra Day winning. I mean, Danny Cluner wasn't really a surprise, but I would be surprised if any of this was in response to the LA Times article and where they got a lot of extra votes for Andra Day coming that in between when the nominations closed, just to try and make it look like they're more inclusive. But I don't know that whether that or not that's true. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think they could have done that quick, Malcolm. But
I mean, it depends. I need to know when the cutoff date was. But somehow, some way, they liked the performance enough to give it.
She's great. She's great. It's on Hulu right now. If you have Hulu, any of you guys have Hulu, it's on Hulu. She's great in it.
What might have been the case is that she might have been, I know it's not ranked voting for the Hollywood Foreign Press, but for what might have happened was that, they were like, oh, I can't choose between, or like, hey, we've given it to Francis, we've given it to Viola. Ooh, Carey Mulligan would have been a great choice. But you know what? Andra Day, whichever one, I'm not sure. But like, let's give it to her. And then that might have happened. Because I don't see Viola Davis or Frances McDormand getting this, because while their performances are lauded and heavily the critics are rightly honoring it, I don't see that, maybe though, I don't see them giving a second or a third respectively. But anyway, Abe, what about for you, or Baker Mayfield? Tell us a little more about I'll stop now, I promise. But you guys are the ones who put those on your names. Abe, tell us, what about you? What is your favorite award / acceptance speech, and what was the biggest shocker for you?
Award. I guess it's Sacha Baron Cohen as Malcolm. I thought that that joke about what's the name of the guy? Giuliani.
Giuliani.
Yeah, I thought that was the funniest. I laughed so hard when watching that. And because of, I have to say, Jodie Foster. I don't think nobody saw it coming. Well, I didn't, because I haven't heard of that movie. Well, I heard the name, but I don't know what it's about or anything. I guess it's about somebody in Mauritania. Because I think we were thinking Glenn Close, maybe Amanda Seyfried, maybe even Olivia Colman. But no, it came out Jodie Foster. I guess it was kind of a popularity contest. The most Glenn Close was kind of famous, but the most beloved. But yeah, that was the biggest. Also, the song one, I was shocked for that one. I was like, whoa! I remember that time when we say the life has no chance in the last podcast, and well, it did have a chance. So I guess those two were my.
You forgot who wrote it.
Yeah.
We probably would have picked it if we had any inclination that she hadn't been winning and that they want to give her one.
But I mean, the song like could have been the same thing as what you were saying about drama actress. Like they probably saw the two of those songs being really similar in tone. Just thought we'll give it to this one because we like it enough. I don't.
And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what some of the other, what critics tonight give for song. And is Diane Warren even nominated for song, to your knowledge, for critics?
She was nominated twice in the Globe, so I would imagine. I think she wrote two of the songs. It's two of the more popular songs, considering everything. I think.
I'm checking.
I'm looking that up right now.
Perfect. So you get there first.
But I want to add more thing.
I'm there.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, so for Critics' Choice Awards for Best Song, it's Everybody Cries from The Outpost, Fight for You, Husa Vic from Eurovision, EO Sai from The Life Ahead, Speak Now from One Night in Miami, and Tigers and Trees. So she is nominated again at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah. Okay. She could build momentum at least.
I just want to add one more thing, Manny. A lot of Brits, if you kept track, there was a lot of
the
Brits.
accents.
Yeah, that one, John Boyega, Daniel Kaluuya, Rosamund Pike, Sacha Baron Cohen. A lot of Brits ended up winning on the Globe, and it is the Hollywood foreign press, so they love giving awards to foreign people if they could. But a lot of
and what I'll add also for that can I just say that the Hollywood's foreign press, their apology, quote unquote, that they had, just them kind of, I felt it was very disingenuous and it wasn't even a minute. It was literally wasn't even a minute. And they just said, hey, we will do better until next time. It was like, okay, tell us steps or like what you guys will be doing to be proactive on that. Because after, don't make it feel hollow and rehearsed. That is all I wanted to ask. And I feel like they could have done so much better in order to make sure that they are trying to take necessary steps into issue diversity. And they're completely very, how do we say this? Let's just call it very vanilla membership they have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was ever rehearsed. I think it was a case of we should really do something with people yelling out there to go boycott us. It's like we need to say we're going to say something and then just come up on stage on the Zoom call and say something. I don't think they planned any. They definitely didn't plan anything by the sounds of it.
No, I think they wrote it that day.
Even Amy Poehler and Tina Fey threw them under the bus in their monologue.
I know, and I think
they're getting paid.
I think that was probably the bigger thing that they made them decide to do something straight after that monologue. It's like, well, shit, we didn't expect them to say that.
I mean, I that is possible. I do think they might have. That seemed very like they knew they chose their words carefully, and I feel like they at least wrote it that day. It doesn't feel like obviously it was not that what they wrote was not even a week old, because that stuff really broke and started to snowball like a few days before that happened. So they had to rush and do something. But anyway, for myself, for what I think would be the best speech. And okay, so this isn't even, this is not even a movie. It's TV. What I want to say is I love the moment of John Boyega where like, I'm just wearing my sweats underneath this, which I think is the biggest 2020 cap of anything, because that's what we've been doing. Because let's be honest, how many people were just wearing their sweats when they were in Zoom calls? So I really appreciated that. But also another big shout out I want to just say is to the double win of Emma Corrin as someone who loves the crown, and Josh O'Connor. Having them both win and thanking each other when that occurred. And then I think it was a really sweet moment, especially considering if you look over at Olivia Colman, she was like, yes. And who doesn't love Olivia Colman? I love Olivia Colman. Yeah. But for movie side, my absolutely favorite win was Andra Day. I need to go back and check, but just to see her win, because she genuinely seemed shocked and she was on the verge of tears. She was just kind of like, this is an amazing moment. And I was over there kind of still reeling from the fact of like, we did not predict this. We did not predict this at all. And this was actually coming to fruition, which I think is a really big testament to how there still feels like an open race, because she doesn't have SAG, and this could easily, go her way with the Oscar at the end of the day.
Yeah. And actually that reminds me to, I think it was either last year or the year before when Olivia Colman beat Glenn Close for The Favourite. Because I don't think none of us, we didn't predict that either when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty much the same kind of emotional speech because she just didn't expect to win.
And the thing is,
didn't Olivia Colman win BAFTA?
And the thing is, Malcolm, who do you knock out and put Andra Day in for Best Actress for your Oscars now? Because now your Best Actress race is so packed, you got to knock somebody out to put Andra Day in, and it's going to be someone's going to get snubbed for Best Actress. I'll tell you that right now. Or maybe two people could get snubbed for Best Actress if you look at your Gold Derby here.
No, it's going to
be. You have to knock somebody out, and I haven't watched the movie. It's still on my watch list on Netflix. I think it's Vanessa Kirby, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that movie's her and herself only for any category. That's the one you knock out just out of possibility. You're not going to knock out. Even Rosamund Pike has a chance.
That's what I'm saying. Rosamund Pike,
we were all thinking, Maria Bakalova. Yeah, for.
She's supporting.
Can get us a nomination for whatever. Well, it's not Best Actress, right?
She's supporting. She's supporting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think she's supporting in the Oscars.
Yeah, but like
still.
I see Rosamund Pike, and I say, well, she got a nomination a couple of years ago. We all love her.
Like, she could easily get one for BAFTA.
Yeah, and she probably will, and she's gonna get steam, and somebody has to push. And you say Andra Day. She just got the Golden Globe. People like her speech. This is a campaign. This is politics at the end of all.
The one I think could get eliminated, knocked out is Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman. And I think that was just an unbelievable performance when I saw that movie and I heard the buzz. And then now with Andra Day getting the Globe and Rosamund Pike getting Vanessa Kirby's not looking as good.
No, and I think this is the time for her to I think Vanessa Kirby, while I love her performance so much, the film doesn't have anything else. But I think if Andra Day, the film needs to get a little bit more under the line as well too, I would say. And because I don't know how well it did it for BAFTA shortlist, I need to double check that, but I know it did great. And if Vanessa Kirby can build a lot of nominations, there's a full possibility that she could be safe as just a default nomination. But let's not forget Taron Egerton, who got everything that he needed to get, but still missed out on the Oscar nomination. Go ahead, Malcolm.
That was about to say is for me, I've still got Vanessa Kirby sort of hanging in there. For me, it's I can't remember who actually did knock out, but that's for me. I think Amanda Seyfried might be
supporting.
knocked out. I mean, she's supporting? I thought
Yeah.
she was.
Yeah.
You can see pretty supporting. The big ones in Best Actress are Frances McDormand, Viola Davis, Carey Mulligan, Vanessa Kirby, Rosamund Pike, Andra Day. That's 7, I believe. I counted
Seven that are currently vying for 5 spots. And right now you probably could throw in if they wanted to go all out crazy, if you have Life Ahead also winning for song from Diane Moran, you could also have Sophia Loren, the famous, come in and get a surprise nomination for the Academy. I don't know. But I'm not sure exactly what to expect because this is a bloodbath, honestly, when it's going to come down to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving along. Anyone at last minute thoughts on the Golden Globes? No. Good. Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay. So the Golden Globes we've had recently are like one of the first indicators when it comes to a big award show. But right now, tonight are the Critics' Choice Awards. And while we're not going to go into every category, I want to just highlight the fact that this week is full of like nominations galore. We have some of the big ones coming out. We have DGA, PGA, BAFTA, ASC. So this is going to be a big week when it comes to nominations, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that turns out to be. Specifically for PGA. So specifically for PGA, what are you looking for, Dan? What are some things you could be surprised by when it comes to the PGA coming out this week?
Producers Guild Awards.
Yes, sir.
Producers sometimes will go for the flashy movie that the other award shows won't go for. They'll go for like a comic book movie or something like that because the producers, like say Kevin Feige, for instance, was the producer of Endgame. You know what I mean? So they'd be, oh my God, what a great achievement by Kevin Feige to get all this going on in Endgame. Something goofy like that. So you'd get a producer for some blockbuster. But what blockbusters were there? We had Tenet. So I think you're gonna be pretty straightforward when it comes to the Producers Guild Awards. I don't think there's a lot of out of the box things that you could do. I mean, I don't really have anything that I can think of that.
Bad Boys for Life.
Say that again, Malcolm.
Maybe Bad Boys for Life, maybe.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know it. They're going to get that nomination, and we're just going to be like, "Wow, I can't believe this is the front runner now."
Yeah, I mean, I would think movies like Mank for the producer would be a good one because that is an achievement. If you look at what the movie made out of ended up being the greatest movie, but to turn it to black and white and the costumes and to make it sound like a 1950s or 40s movie and all that stuff, that's an achievement for those type of people, whoever the producers are on Mank, I mean, but other than that, I'll be honest with you, I can't really think of anything.
So what I'm expecting a lot is this could be the time Judas and the Black Messiah and stuff like News of the World. Those two things are things that I can easily see the Producers Guild going for, and that could lift them up tremendously. Which could we can't forget Helena Zengel, the child actress from News of the World. She's also in contention for getting SAG and a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. What's supporting actress? It could be supporting actress, isn't it? Excuse me. Well, let's not forget she could also be in supporting actress, which is also in and of itself, because let's not forget for the Mauritanian, Jodie Foster's not nominated for SAG. Yeah. So this could be a weird fluke, or this could be like, watch out for her just kind of building momentum after this for some other things. But I think this could be PGA's time to nominate something that's kind of a larger production value. As you said, like maybe a Tenet. But I think News of the World could possibly get a bigger boost from this. What about you, Malcolm? What are some stuff you expect to see besides the Nomadland or Trial of the Chicago 7 or Promising Young Woman, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any expectations with the Producers Guild Award, really, because there's just nothing that I can sort of think off the top of my head that would be big surprise. That's not a ridiculous option. Like, I mean, maybe they give some love to the Ray back. I don't know. So
I love
what
that
I'm
movie.
thinking right now is that with the possibility of what the Producers Guild is going to have, there's no big blockbusters this year besides like maybe that, as I said before, Tenet, to really kind of sink their teeth into. Like there's always like maybe a year, like you'll have A Quiet Place, maybe make it in for the Producers Guild. When that made it in, you'll have days of like you'll have like years when you're gonna have what made it in last year? Was it like
Ford v Ferrari. Well, that
Ford v
was
Ferrari? That also got a nomination for director.
1917. Those
True.
It's
those are
usually
great
those.
productions. Yeah,
It's usually not the independent movies, if you will say so. It's usually the movie the studio chooses to push, like that mid-range 60 million, $100 million movie that it's not the Ford v Ferrari, the 1917, the Argos, you can go the Dunkirks. That's what I think Danny's saying. Like it's probably not gonna go. Black Panther is different, but it's
Yeah.
not the Mission Impossible. Those movies up to 200,
We
150
just-
million. It's usually
it just didn't happen this year.
yeah,
It didn't.
at last year's Producers Guild Awards, there wasn't really any surprise, but all of the ones that were nominated had some kind of appearance at the Oscars. Because you had 1917, Ford v Ferrari, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Knives Out, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Because
Yeah,
I mean-
Endgame wasn't even nominated. So
And
You have to go
back-
They all have a very particular production value to them
Mhm.
that set them all apart individually. But what didn't Kevin Feige get some kind of life achievement award or something like that from the
Ooh, that's a
Producers
great
Guild?
question.
I thought he did. I thought there was something to do with Kevin Feige at the Producers Guild. I could be wrong, but
nope, nothing to do with Kevin Feige at all.
all right. Oh well.
No.
Oh, well.
But I was saying you have to go back to 2 years ago when we had Crazy Rich Asians and A Quiet Place both in movies that probably were not going to get nominated for a Best Picture Oscar, but they had their chances because they were larger films that were highly produced, that were
Made a lot of money.
made a lot of money. And like what really made a lot of money? Tenet didn't make a lot of money. It's like, what do you judge by that this year?
You really can't judge that much.
I mean, like if they go to nominate the one that made the most money last year, and there will be Bad Boys for Life.
You're right.
So
The January
Bad Boys.
movie won the box office. Holy moly!
And what about you, Abe? Any thoughts on the Producers Guild and what you think we could expect? Because by this time this goes up, the nominations will already been announced. But I want to hear exactly what we could expect.
We're gonna get that crossover between Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. Like, I don't see any surprises coming in because, as we have mentioned many times right now, there's nothing big has come on. Like, that quality blockbuster that usually comes out, like, and it's usually like, each studio has its horse in the race. Like looking last year, Lionsgate had Knives Out, and then Searchlight had Jojo Rabbit, and 20th Century had Ford v Ferrari, and Netflix had Marriage Story and The Irishman. Like there's that big horse for each studio, and there's not like that because I don't know how many movies each studio has come out. But as you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, I would expect News of the War because it's the Sonic movie that has been pushed. Well, they have been pushing, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But I don't see any surprises coming. Honestly, I can expect what we have been seeing for the whole nomination since the critic awards have been given.
I mean, one thing that I can think of that could be a surprise nomination is I wouldn't be surprised if Mulan somehow gets in.
Oh no!
I mean, look,
that movie sucks.
I mean, it's good. Like Dan said, this could be a big surprise, and I think if you're going to go for a blockbuster, then Mulan, even though it was a streaming movie, will be a big surprise for that reason. I don't think it's going to get much love at the Oscars, but this is one that could sneak into producers.
It was a very great production. It's a $300 million budget movie, and the production overall was very big and very flashy, and the costumes and all that stuff. So Malcolm, you're right. I mean, did it make its money back? Did Mulan make its money back, or no?
I don't think they ever released the numbers.
See, that is
because,
that is. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I mean, they must have had some success with the Premier Access, which is because they're doing it again with Raya.
Yeah.
But but Raya is also in cinemas as well, so that is a different thing because Mulan was only in cinemas in China, and it did not do well in China. So.
And this is the thing: box office has obviously not the same since, like, I forgot what it was. I think it was in March. Disney and Paramount, or might be Paramount. I can't remember if it's Paramount or not. Universal. Like they stopped giving like box office returns. They didn't tell you what it was, and it wasn't only until they started to give their Premiere Access where they started to give that back again. And I'm not even sure if it's the same thing like they used to do. So box office is by no means the same thing that it has been. And I don't think it's going to be until the summer of this year. So I would just I wouldn't give a lot of credence to the fact of, oh, did this thing make its money back? We don't know. No one will probably know. This is a weird period this past year. We won't know if something has made its money back really until we can guess, but really until the companies, they will know, and that's about might be it. But I think for thinking of any productions, I'm putting my money basically upon what Tenet might be able to rake up for producers. Do I think it's going to get it? No, it might be more traditional this year, but we're not going to get it. We're not going to get a Deadpool or Wonder Woman like we've gotten in the years past.
Well, I did think of one. Invisible Man could.
That's a good
circle
get.
Wagons around Invisible Man. That was an incredible production overall, and it made money. And people are still talking about Invisible Man a year later. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be one of those ones because just like we talked about Bad Boys for Life, that is really early in the year. So whether the producers are still going to remember it to nominate it is the other thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows? This is an unprecedented year, as we know. So I'm excited to see exactly what on earth happens this week when it comes to nominations. Before we wrap up, we're not going to go through all the BAFTA nominations, but let's talk about DGA, because DGA is really just a couple of things real fast, because by the time we get this done, BAFTA will have already been announced. So at least possibly, I don't know, we're gonna find out. We'll react to it regardless. So give us a little bit more for DGA. We'll start with Abe. For DGA, you're going to have a lot of different people fighting for that spot. But do you think that's going to be like a traditional five? Like, we know Chloe Zhao is going to make it. We know that Aaron Sorkin's probably going to make it. Sorry, Abe. We know that David Fincher is probably going to make it, specifically probably with the Directors Guild. Maybe Emerald Fennell probably might be making it as well. What are some other people do you think that are going to be in the conversation that I may not have asked that? Or do you think someone from those four is not going to make it?
I wouldn't discount, more than making it, I think it's still like a 6-7 horse race, but I wouldn't discount Spike Lee because, it's Spike Lee. And he got well deserved. Also, Regina King, I don't see her as strong as, because we thought One Night in Miami may win some awards. In the Golden Globes, we'll see in the Critics' Choice. Like, she may not, like, that movie may not have gotten the steam it required, like, to get more nominations. But I will expect, I think there's at least three locks for nomination, which is Fincher, Sorkin, and Zhao. I still cannot pronounce. So I don't think it's like a 4-horse race for 2 more places. I wouldn't be surprised if, usually DGA goes for that, I guess, young director, you would call it, like it happened with Lion a couple years ago. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Emerald Fennell goes in. She's been getting more nominations, but I honestly will predict her right now. I think she'll get the DGA, maybe even the Oscar nomination. Yeah. But I think what's the name of the director from Minari?
Lee Isaac Chung.
I would not be surprised if he's also nominated. I wouldn't be shocked at all. I think there's a big chance. I think it's probably gonna get nomination for Best Picture Minari, so I think that DGA nomination could go.
That's a good choice. Malcolm, what about you? For you, what do you see for DGA happening?
Yeah, so I think we're going to see like Aaron Sorkin, Fincher, and all the usual ones um in there. But they've got two categories they've got feature film and they've got first time feature film. So I think we're going to see Emerald Fennell get into first time feature film. I don't know if there's a lot of crossover between feature film and first time. So I think that's how Spike Lee gets into the feature film one, maybe. I don't know if Minari was Lee Isaac Young's first time, so I don't know where he would fall if he gets in. I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, the one I wouldn't be surprised if misses out will be Sorkin. But I would be surprised if they knock Sorkin out just to get like Lee Isaac in there.
Just as a heads up, Lee Isaac Chung has, in fact, directed other movies before. This is not his directorial debut, so he would not be able to do that. But I think you're right, Malcolm. This is we can't forget also now that they have the first time feature film director award at the DGA. I think that might be Emerald Fennell's ticket.
It's definitely Emerald's first one.
Yes.
Yeah,
and Regina King. So you could probably get them out of the other category, put them in that category, and that would make room for other people in the other category.
Mm-hmm. So, Dan, what about for you? What do you see for DGA?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the movies that their potential for Oscar nominations for the director, like a Shaka King or somebody for Judas and the Black Messiah, something like that. But also, Paul Greengrass, like you guys have mentioned, in for News of the World, that he is a director that has put out great film after great film after great film. He rarely makes a bad film, so that's a guy that you could think could sneak in there. You know, those are a couple that I have that maybe.
No, and Paul Greengrass is a very consistent filmmaker. While his films may not always be like, wow, the pinnacle of filmmaking, there are a couple in my opinion, but most people would agree that he's a very good director. And I think that maybe this would be like, hey, Paul, come on in again. Because what's the last DGA nomination that he got? I'm going to check that right now while I'm talking, so I'm going to keep stalling. But for DGA, I think this is like, you're going to have Chloe Zhao. Oh, wow. There you go.
What'd you say, Abe? I couldn't hear Abe.
Captain Phillips, you said it right, Abe?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Captain Phillips. Oh, yeah. Great film.
Last DGA. Wow, that was that long ago? Wow.
Well, it came out 2013. So.
But yeah, no, I think that could be a time for him to get that nomination once again. I think we can all say Chloe Zhao, David Fincher, and Aaron Sorkin. Or are we not going to say Aaron Sorkin? We're not going to agree with that.
I'd say Aaron Sorkin. I
think he's going to default.
Yeah.
Abe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Malcolm?
I mean, he's one that I wouldn't be surprised if misses out, to be honest.
This is true. He could miss.
But who do you put in place of him?
DGA can throw in a range.
Well, I mean, like you said, Shaka King could make it in, and that's not his first movie. He's only had one other movie before this, so he can't get into the first time one. So, I mean, it's one of those ones that Judas and Black Messiah might benefit from only just coming out too, because it's fresh in people's minds. So there's.
I think at the end of the day, the only safe one out of all of them that we can agree on is Chloe Zhao. She's the one that I think we're almost all in agreement on that she's definitely going to make it.
I mean, she's got the momentum as well for her Globe Run, so
deserving, so very, very deserving. Great, also acceptance speech from her twice. And I'm trying to think what else. You know, Emerald Fennell's in the conversation. Regina King, we can't forget about. And I think this might be, Shaka King would be a good addition. Lee Isaac Chung, as you were saying, Abe. And I think we just need to keep an eye out. And as you said, Dan, Regina King, someone we don't want to, sleep on. And Paul Greengrass specifically. There's a lot of directors, and this could probably shape up the race for who they're going to be. Because I think you're always going to, I think there's always going to be four, at least from my knowledge, four that are going to translate to the Oscars. And then there's always a fifth one they might throw in the wrench. And that might be Paul Greengrass. That might be Lee Isaac Chung, or that might be Shaka King. We don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like when you I think looking at the Oscars, I think the combination is usually at least 3 or 4 from feature film, and then maybe some of the first time feature films slip into there as well. So I think we're probably going to see Emerald Fennell nominated at the Oscars.
I mean, confidently, almost I could say is that if anyone's going to translate, it's going to be Emerald Fennell and Regina King. 'Cause I know that for that, those are the two that have, this is their first film and they've gotten annual praise for it. But if I had to pick one, I think Emerald Fennell might be the one too, because Promising Young Woman has that momentum that it's just regained. So I could totally see that happening. But they could both make it in. Who knows?
One Night in Miami is losing a little bit of steam, but it's still highly praised.
Oh yeah, it should be. It could be the Irishman of this year. Where it just gets a lot of nominations, or it gets a lot of praise, but it's not the same as it once was. That's just a possibility.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna wrap up right now. So, Baker Mayfield, where can they find you if not on the field?
You can find me on State Farm commercials. I don't know, it's progressive, right? It's progressive.
Sure, you're not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. It's progressive commercials outside the Paul Brown Stadium. I think it's what it's called, the Cleveland one. You can follow me on Twitter at AbrahamF25, and that's it. I don't want you to follow me anywhere else.
And Richie McCaw, where can they find you if you're not playing for the All Blacks?
Well, you can't find me on the field because Richie's a bit retired.
Well, is he retired?
Yeah.
Well, never mind then.
But,
Go ahead.
But you can find me on Tape Productions hosting Ranked every Saturday night. Next week's topic is going to be top 12 Chris Evans movies. You can find me over on Full Metal hosting Full Metal Classic on Sundays and Full Metal Random on Tuesdays, or sometime in the week anyway. It's always random.
And Diane, where can they find you?
You can always find me at Disappointment Media, where I write. I'm a film critic for disappointmentmedia.com. All kinds of reviews. Also, my own blog from the fourth row at wordpress.com, or social media, Dan Skip Allen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Yes, I still do Pinterest.
And you can find me at Twitter at Cine_man. That's CINE_MANN, as well as here hosting Gone with the Wind and my YouTube channel, Manning Franks. Very easy to find for video essays and the like. Also, fun fact, apparently there's usually, besides 2 times, since they've had the first time film feature, or the first time feature film award, they have had one person who has been nominated for the feature film translate to the first time. Last year it was, or I guess 2 years ago, it was Bradley Cooper, no one from last year. The year before that, it was Jordan Peele for Get Out. Year before that, it was Garth Davis for Lion. So there's always usually one person, say for like a couple times. So look out for that Emerald Fennell or Regina King in my mind. So putting money on that down, not really. I'm broke. Thank you all for watching this episode, listening to this episode of Gone with the Wind. I will see you all next time for this quickie episode, and hopefully by this time, the coming week will be utterly crazy. Bananas with nominations. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.